Hello, buddy. Welcome to That's Football. There's no easy way of saying this. I'm leaving. It might be easier to say I'm leaving than what I'm about to say. Liverpool are unbelievable. An unbelievable start to the season, and not just because they beat Manchester United. That's not that unbelievable. But I think the start that they've had to the season has been, not many would have predicted 9 from 9. I think even some Liverpool fans may have hoped it, but it's more about your next two games are Forest and Bournemouth at home. So we're looking at, realistically, you'd be disappointed now as a Liverpool fan if you didn't win your first 5. Where does that put Slot compared to other Premier League managers and their starts as a Premier League manager? But also, at what point do you actually acknowledge the apparent brilliance of Liverpool Football Club in what they've done in transitioning from Jurgen Klopp to this? Because I keep receipts, I'm sure you do as well. And when Jurgen Klopp left Liverpool and announced he was going to leave Liverpool, there was that hope. Maybe it's not quite the same as when Pep leaves Man City or if Man City get found guilty, but it is still enormous when Jurgen Klopp, the builder of Liverpool, says, I'm leaving at the end of the season, when he's partially through a rebuild to build another great Liverpool side. You start to think as a Man United fan, as a Man City fan and as an Arsenal fan, that's another big club out the way that we can, exploit and take advantage of. And yet the season starts, there's no signings over the summer, and you think, oh, this is not going to be good for Liverpool. No Jurgen Klopp, no new signings. It's all falling apart. And then they go and win their first 3 games and look absolutely immaculate in it. No goals conceded as well. And I keep harking back to that video I did a few weeks ago, but everything in that has come to pass so far. The intensity in winning the ball back, the impressive double pivot, their passing between the lines, the ability to use your wide players effectively. I mean, I don't know how many goals Salah and Diaz have got in the first 3 games, but we highlighted they will be the goal scorers, and lo and behold, they are. They're not conceding goals, as we say. They've adapted to a new manager straight away. They haven't bought new players in. And as I said, when you look at the record, people will go, oh, wow, Ipswich away, Brentford at home, Man United away, hardly a tough start. Hold on a minute. Ipswich, newly promoted, arguably the best promoted side at home, first game of the season, is tricky and was tricky in the first half, and it was tactical at half-time that changed that game. Brentford have had a very good start to the season. They've got 6 points from 9, and for 20 minutes against Liverpool 1-0 down, they were looking good. And Man United at Old Trafford, all right, they made it easy. It's not necessarily an easy game on paper. So it's a very, very good start from Slot. And when you compare it to the best ever starts to a career in the Premier League, I'm looking at Liverpool and I'm thinking, well, they're going to beat Bournemouth and they're going to beat Forest at Anfield unless we get a major shock. So if he takes 15 from his first 15 points, his first 5 games, there is only in Premier League history 5 other managers that have done that. Pep Guardiola won his first 6 at Man City, so, he'd have to do that to repeat it. Pep lost his 7th game. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got the best record, but he came in not from the start. He didn't come in from the summer. So whether that's harder or not, I think Ole is there at the top. But, there is context to that. But from their actual starts to their career, only Pep Guardiola, Maurizio Sarri at Chelsea, John Gregory at Villa, and Carlo Ancelotti at Chelsea won their first 5 Premier League games ever from the start of the season. So already Slot's putting himself into a position that you can't underestimate it. And I think it is incredible. And I want to take it away from Slot because we've spoken about how good they've been. Are we starting to see a new way of running football clubs because of PSR and FFP? Yes, we are. People can't spend as much, and I think that needs to change. But I don't think what Liverpool's model is really about a lack of spending. They would have spent £60 million on Zubimendi or 50 million or whatever it was. I think Liverpool's strategy here was really about continuity. It was really about what Chelsea aren't about. It was really about what a lot of the clubs aren't about. When a new manager comes in, let's give them free rein. Let's let them sell players. Let's let them buy players. Let's let them build their project. And I think what Liverpool looked at here, and look, I don't think Arne Slot was their number 1 choice, but at the moment it looks like it was the right choice because what they've clearly done, and I don't know what Liverpool fans think about their ownership. I see clips of stuff people going mad about, they don't spend enough money. They're not very good owners, but somebody somewhere or some people somewhere have made a very, very brave decision at that football club and said, Jurgen Klopp's one of the greatest things to ever happen to this football club. We didn't want him to go, and he was building something that really embodies what Liverpool is. When you think about Liverpool over the last 30 years, they've never had what they had with Klopp. They had it with Dalglish in the 80s, but they didn't have it ever again. This sustained period of attractive football that embodies what Liverpool Football Club's all about, and also a team that really connects with its fan base. And Liverpool fan base is obviously very unique. Even as a United fan, you know, we protect and have what we have as unique and the story of Manchester United, and we have that rivalry with Liverpool. But the same way, I know Liverpool fans who feel that about their football club. They have that identity, history, tragedy, and they want that with their team. They want to feel ingrained with that team, and they had that under Jurgen Klopp as well. So when you lose the success, the identity, and the connection with Jurgen Klopp, what do you do? Do you bring a manager in who tears it all down and builds it again? Or do you go, hold on a minute, all right, there's a few older players like Salah and Van Dijk and Alisson, but there's also a lot of younger players coming through. There's also a lot of players that we bought last season for Klopp. What we want to do is end this project before we start a new one. We want to bring a manager in that ends this project that Klopp was building, because he's going too soon. And we don't want to see wholesale changes, and we don't want to see wholesale sales, and we don't want to see wholesale purchases. We want to continue with this project. And that is why the appointment of Arne Slot is really intelligent, because he may not be the most glamorous name, but he is certainly somebody that when you go from Feyenoord to Liverpool, it's a huge step up. It's a huge privilege. It's a huge honour. It's a huge vindication of your talent that Liverpool want you. And that selection in itself gives you a manager that basically is going to go, yeah, I'm on board. I want this is an amazing opportunity for me. And we spoke yesterday about how the players have been emboldened by that, because clearly Slot's come in and said, look, I'm new. You're not. You've done this before under Klopp. I need you to show me as much as I show you. We've got to be in this together. And they've adapted that very, very early on. And many people in the comments will be saying, well, it's only 3 games in, Mark, and you're absolutely correct. But the next 2 games are very winnable. Are Liverpool's fixtures favourable? Arguably they are, but it's always about momentum. It's always about how well you start. And if Arne Slot can go and beat Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest at home, which I expect him will, that's 5 wins from 5. You can only be first. You might be joint, but you can only be first. That team is 6 weeks more ingrained into Slot. There's a few European games in between that as well. Suddenly that momentum is building, that consistency is building, and that continuity is not even continuity anymore. It's the new Liverpool. It's incredible. And look, people are quite right to say Emery picked up Villa from Gerrard, who was shit, and did a really good job, and he's been very, very, very consistent. Completely different, but completely the same. Emery's done a brilliant job at Aston Villa. But this, in a way, isn't harder, but it is more unique. A great manager goes, who is building something again, and a new manager comes in and has the respect for that manager. And that's a word as well, respect. So many managers come in and egotistically do not respect the previous manager. When Mourinho came into United after Van Gaal, it was almost, I'm not using his signings because I'm Jose Mourinho. I don't want anything to do with that. This is my club. I'm in charge. So to find a manager that's not going to come in and go, I'm not, look at what Moyes did after Sir Alex. Sir Alex literally said David Moyes should get the job. David Moyes came in, even though he had that backing of the greatest manager ever, and tore everything down. I don't want you in my backroom staff. I don't want you. I don't want you. I'm building it my way. The biggest blueprint of how not to continue after a good manager. And what Liverpool have done, and I'll shout out their ownership, is they've actually gone, Jurgen Klopp is a legend at this football club. He was building something. We're bringing in a manager that will respect that project and continue with it. At the moment, it's working really, really well. And it's the path less trodden. And it's not cost them very much money. Let's see how it goes. Get your comments in below. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm genuinely in a period of shock. Not really because United got beat by Liverpool, but just because you could see what Liverpool were doing. But the way it's working, well, let's see how many games he can win. Let's see if he can go and win more opening games than Pep, because after Bournemouth and Forest, I think their next game is away to Wolves. If they win that, that's 6. Then it's Palace. If they win that, that's 7. And he's won more games than Pep did at his start at Man City. So Incredible start. Get your comments in below. Make sure you smash a like on the video and please do subscribe.